The backyard looked harmless that evening. String lights swayed gently above the lawn, blinking like lazy fireflies in the warm twilight. The air carried the savory perfume of steaks sizzling on the grill, mixed with the faint sweetness of barbecue sauce and the smokiness of burning charcoal. Somewhere behind the house, a dog barked. Once, then went quiet. Madison stood near the picnic table, balancing a flimsy paper plate in both hands. She nodded politely. Passing neighbors offered small smiles to relatives drifting in and out of the crowd. The conversations around her floated like bubbles, light, meaningless, easy to pop. She let them pass without really touching her. Her father stood at the grill flipping a steak with the same casual precision he used to count out her share of the bills. Beside him, Denise reclined in a lawn chair, oversized sunglasses hiding her eyes, her thumb scrolling endlessly over her phone screen. Tyler leaned back in another chair, a half-empty beer in his hand, his grin aimed at nothing in particular. On the surface, it was warmth. On the surface, it was family. But Madison felt the thinness of it, like cellophane stretched too tight over something sharp. A wrong word, a wrong glance, and it would tear. She moved quietly, setting out condiments, straightening stacks of napkins, performing the small tasks that kept the peace. Her smile was steady, but the muscles in her shoulders ached from holding it in place. She caught snippets of conversation jokes that weren't really jokes, comments dressed up as casual, but edged with something sharper. The golden light of early evening painted everything soft, but inside, Madison's thoughts felt brittle. She measured the distance to the gate, the distance to her car, the distance between the person she was and the person she was expected to be in this yard. For a brief moment, she let herself believe the evening might stay harmless, that maybe for once everyone would play their roles without drawing blood. And then somewhere in that fragile calm, the first crack began to form. Madison, you're old enough to pay rent or get out. The words land like a slap. The yard goes quiet in pieces. First, the fork that stops midair, then the chair that stops rocking, then the laughter that dies in a thin, awkward line. Her father doesn't whisper it. He projects it. He wants every neighbor to hear. He wants this sentence to stick to her like grease and smoke. Denise laughs first, a bright, brittle sound that doesn't reach her eyes. She tilts her chin like she's watching a show. She doesn't look at Madison. She looks past her. And like Madison is scenery. Tyler follows with his own chuckle. Easy. Mean. He taps his can against the table as if calling the room to order. He mouths the word rent like it's a punchline. Madison holds her plate with both hands. The paper edge softens under her grip. A line of sauce trembles and smears the rim. She tastes metal in her mouth. She tastes years. Her father adds the tale. This isn't a charity. There it is. The judgment dressed up as wisdom. The contempt dressed up as parenting. Neighbors pretend to be busy. Eyes slide away, then slide back. A woman near the fence studies the potato salad like it's a secret. A man clears his throat and checks his phone with the screen off. Madison breathes in once. The air smells like pepper and shame. Her cheeks burn, but her spine does not bend. She looks at the grill. She watches the fat drip and hiss. She counts 3 drops. 1 for the month she paid power. 1 for the month she paid water. 1 for the week she paid the insurance on a car she barely drove. Denise leans towards her father and whispers loud enough to carry, "Maybe she'll finally grow up." Tyler grins without teeth. He enjoys the script. He has seen this scene before. He expects the same ending. Madison goes quiet. Madison swallows. Madison stays. But the ending shifts almost invisibly. It shifts in the way Madison squares her shoulders. It shifts in the way she meets her father's eyes and doesn't blink. It shifts in the way she lowers her plate, slow, precise, deliberate. Someone drops a napkin. Someone laughs too late. Someone says kids right to no one in particular. Madison does not look at Denise. She does not look at Tyler. She looks at the space between herself and the gate. She measures it. She marks it. She keeps the number. Her father smirks like he's finished the lesson. He has not. He has only drawn the line. Madison steps up to it, On one side, the version of her that pays and apologizes and disappears. On the other side, silence, distance, and a key she hasn't used yet. She doesn't cross it. Not yet. She just learns where it is, and that is enough to change everything that comes next. Madison tightens the paper plate. Grease dots the rim. Her pulse climbs, then steadies. Not rage, focus. She lifts her eyes. Father chin high. Denise amused. Tyler bored and cruel. Same cast, new script. The insult should shrink her. It doesn't. It carves a clean line through the noise. It cuts away the part of her that begs, the part that buys peace with pieces of herself. Heat presses her skin. She lets it pass. She smooths the plate with her thumb. The paper gives. She does not. Memory clicks open like drawers. Power bill in her name, water in her name, insurance in her name, groceries she carried in alone, receipts stuffed into a box that smelled like smoke. She hears her father's lesson. This isn't a charity, fine. Then she will stop donating. Madison counts her exits, gate, car, bank app, passwords, folders, keys. She feels a small quiet click inside her, a door closing with no sound, a door opening behind that one. She breathes once. Anger cools to steel. Fear thins to air. Resolve settles like weight in the palm. She will not argue, no speeches, no proofs, no pleading for witnesses to fairness, no second audition for a role she never wanted. Tomorrow begins now. She will move her body like a secret. She will move her name off every bill. She will move her life one item at a time. She will move without asking permission. Her father talks about responsibility. She thinks about accountability. Different words, different math. Denise watches for a flinch. Tyler waits for the old ending. They do not see the shift, because shifts are small, because power changes hands without fireworks. One breath, one choice, one step, nobody notices. Madison lowers the plate to the table, flat, calm, careful, a rehearsal for the way she will put everything else down. There is no thunder, no applause. Only a private vow: I am done paying to be smaller. I am done paying to be silent. I am done paying to stay. She stands a little taller, just enough to feel the hinge move, just enough to feel the night tilt toward her side. This is the moment, not dramatic, not loud, but absolute. The decision is made, and once made, it does not unmake. It started the week Madison got her first paycheck. 18. New badge, new shoes, a folded slip of paper that smelled like ink and hope. Her father met her at the kitchen table with a calculator and a pen. Have he said? House rules, no discussion, no smile. He called it responsibility. He called it real life. Madison nodded, because good daughters nod. She slid the bills across the table. He slid them into an envelope with her name on it. The envelope never came back. Payday became a ritual. She walked in with a check. She walked out with less air in her lungs. Her father would list the bills out loud like a sermon. Power, water, gas, internet, insurance, groceries. Everyone pays, he liked to say. That's how a family works. But everyone meant Madison. Denise helped with the script. Don't be selfish, she'd add, stirring a pot that Madison bought. This is your home too. Contribute. When Madison hesitated, Denise tilted her head. Are we really arguing about being fair? The word fair was heavy. It always landed on Madison's side of the scale. There was a box in Madison's closet. Inside it, receipts curled like old leaves. Power bill paid by her. Water bill paid by her. Car insurance paid by her, even when she barely drove the car because Tyler needed it. Each slip of paper felt like proof. Still, she hid the box. Proof changes nothing when only one judge is allowed to speak. There were small humiliations. A night class she wanted but couldn't afford because rent is due. The interview heels she didn't buy because we're short this month. A trip with friends she canceled because it's not a good time. Every no sounded practical. Every no carved the same hollow. Sometimes Madison watched the mailbox. She liked the quiet of it, the way it opened and shut without comment. Most letters were addressed to her father, but the money that kept them from turning red came from her. She told herself this was temporary. She told herself this was what grown-ups do. She told herself a lot of things to make the math feel less cruel. Her father had phrases he reused. This isn't a charity. You live here, you pay here. Be grateful you're learning early. They were polished from use. They left no room for questions. Questions sounded like disrespect. On birthdays, Madison bought cake and candles. On holidays, she paid for meat and decorations. Denise posted photos with captions about family and gratitude. Tyler joked about having a sponsor. Madison smiled on cue. When the camera clicked, her smile edged a little thinner. There were moments of almost mutiny. Once she kept an extra 50 in her purse. She planned to buy paints and a cheap easel. Her father saw the bank alert and asked where the money went. Madison lied and said gas. She watched the easel in her mind fold back into a receipt. Years taught her to move quietly, to pack away small dreams because large bills were loud, to overtip peace and undertip herself. She became fluent in the language of it's fine, it wasn't fine. If anyone asked, she said the house was a team. If anyone listened closely, they'd hear the truth between the lines. The team had a star player and a bench. Madison played every position, everyone else kept the jerseys. And yet she kept going, because routine is a soft prison, because the bars look like duty, because love can be twisted into a ledger, because good daughters nod, until the night a backyard crowd laughed and the ledger spoke out loud, half your pay, or get out. That sentence did not break her. It totaled the years. It balanced the book. It told her exactly what she needed to do next. It was never a favor. It was never a request. It was routine. The power bill arrived. Madison paid it. No one said thank you. The water bill arrived. Madison paid it. No one said thank you. The internet lagged. Her card fixed it. Denise said, good, now I can work, and walked away. Groceries ran low. Madison stocked the fridge. Tyler grabbed a soda and joked, you're a lifesaver, but his smile treated her like a vending machine. Gratitude only appeared when she missed something. A late fee, a warning email. Then came the speech about responsibility. Then came the sighs. Then came the looks that said we can't rely on you. When things worked, it was expected. When things failed, it was her fault. That was the math. Small scenes piled up, a birthday dinner, check on the table, her card again. We'll pay you back, her father said. They did not. A dentist bill in the family file. Her card again. This is what family does, Denise said. Family in this house meant Madison's wallet. Tyler borrowed the car, insurance under her name. A ticket arrived in the mail. He said, relax. It's not that much. It was always not that much. Until you added the months, until you added the years. They called it helping. They called it being a team. They called it growing up. They called it love. The words felt clean. The practice was not. They used softer tools than shouting. Guilt when she hesitated. Silence when she said no. Stories on Facebook about ungrateful people that somehow matched her shape. She learned the timing of the asks. Right after a good day at work. Right before her own bill was due. Right when she set aside money for something small and bright. And then came the first refusal. Mini story, the first no Saturday. Mall parking lot. Denise wanted a designer bag for the holidays. Her father said, put it on your card. We'll settle up. Tyler added, get the new speaker too. It's on sale. Madison looked at the numbers in her phone. Rent due, loan payment due, her savings thin as paper. No, she said. Flat, clear. I'm not buying those. The air stiffened. They did not argue. They did not shout. They did something smarter. They went quiet. At home, the silence spread. Dinner without a plate for her. A group chat that kept planning things without her name. Wi-Fi password changed and forgotten. Car keys misplaced. Footsteps that paused outside her door and moved on. 3 days. No one asked if she ate. No one knocked. No one said her name. On day 4, the water bill posted. She paid it. The Wi-Fi password returned. A plate reappeared at dinner. Denise smiled like nothing had happened. Her father said, see, we function better when everyone does their part. Madison learned the lesson they wanted her to learn. Say yes and harmony returns. Say no and the house freezes you out. Madison kept a different lesson. Silence is a leash. Leashes break. The BBQ was not the first time. It was the last. Before that night, there were hundreds of smaller nights. Nights that looked normal from the sidewalk. Inside, the math never added up. An envelope of cash that disappeared because the water bill jumped. A promise to pay her back that dissolved by morning. A joke at dinner about having a sponsor and everyone laughed but her. A Tuesday when the power company called her phone, not his. She left work early and fixed it. She came home to cold chicken and a comment about responsibility. A Friday when her car tank was empty because Tyler needed to run errands. A parking ticket with her name on it, a shrug. It's not that much. A Sunday when Denise posted a photo with the caption "Family First." Madison saw the likes pile up. She also saw the groceries on her receipt. Rules shifted depending on who needed what. When they spent, it was necessary. When she saved, it was selfish. When they asked, it was love. When she hesitated, it was attitude. She tried to set tiny boundaries, 5% of her paycheck into savings, a night class application half filled, a box under her bed labeled for me. Each time something urgent arrived to take it, she learned to move the money quietly, rename her accounts, pay in cash when she could, close the banking app in the hallway when footsteps came. She told herself she was overreacting. Other families share expenses, other daughters help out. But help has an end. This never did. The house had a weather pattern. Sunny when she said yes, cold snap when she said no. The forecast kept her compliant. Then came the small betrayal that didn't look small, a package in her name but not her order, an alert from the bank but not her login. She felt the floor slope. She filed the feeling away. She stayed because leaving felt dramatic. She stayed because leaving needs a plan. She stayed because habit is glue. And then the backyard. The crowd, the sentence tossed like a beer cap. Pay rent or get out. It gathered the other sentences and stacked them into a tower. It made a ledger out of every late night and every early transfer. It was not new. It was the audit. That's why her hands didn't shake. That's why her voice stayed level. Not because she was numb, because the decision had been growing roots for years. The BBQ wasn't the beginning. It was the total, the last drop that made the glass honest. She would not argue about the past anymore. She would not itemize. She would not repeat the math to people who benefited from not learning it. She would do the only clean thing left. She would stop paying for the story where she is the problem. She would write a new one. And this time, her name would stay on her money. And this time, her yes would belong to her. And this time, the last would become the first. Freedom became a project, not a wish, a plan with lines and dates. She opened a new account at a small credit union, paperless statements, personal email, no shared devices. On payday, an automatic transfer slipped money into a folder she named Key Fund, 10% at first, 12 the next month, 15 when she learned to stretch rice and beans into 4 dinners. She taught her phone to round up every purchase, 91 cents here, 43 there. The spare change crawled into savings like ants carrying crumbs. She packed lunch in reused containers, left the ride shares alone, and took the early bus. Canceled subscriptions she didn't love, sewed a button instead of replacing a shirt. Every dollar she kept felt like a brick. She was building a door only she could open. At night she listed old textbooks online, sold a dress she wore once, tutored a neighbor's kid for cash. Said yes to overtime when it didn't cost her sleep. Said no when it did. She cleaned her credit like a room with the windows open. Annual reports printed and highlighted. A name misspelled. An address she never lived at. She filed disputes by mail and kept copies of everything. 2-factor on her email. New passwords written by hand, not saved in the family laptop. A small lockbox under the bed. IDs, birth certificate, tax forms, USB with scans. She learned the language lenders speak. Debt to income, fixed rate, not adjustable. Pre-approval letter, not just a smile. On a 15-minute break at work, she asked the loan officer, questions most people skip. How much house can I carry without losing sleep? What happens if I pay extra on the principal? What if I need a month to breathe? She drove quiet streets on Sundays and wrote down addresses that felt like exhale. A small 2-story with white siding and a shy porch. A maple tree that reached for the sky like it forgot how to stop. No gate to slam, no boots to stomp the hall at 6 a.m. She kept a binder that didn't look like a binder, a plain cover that read recipes. Inside, pay stubs, the pre-approval, 3 months of statements, a printout of her credit score, a checklist with boxes already ticked. Another folder on her phone hidden behind an app named Boundaries. Screenshots of bills moved out of her name. Confirmation numbers, dates, times, everything time stamped, everything saved. When a house felt right, she visited at noon on her lunch and again at dusk. Listened for traffic, counted porch lights, watched who walked dogs and who slammed doors. She said nothing to anyone at home. Secrecy was not drama, secrecy was safety. The offer went in modest and clean. Inspection negotiated, repairs small but real, closing date circled in blue. She held the keys in her palm and didn't close her fist. Metal warm out to her skin like a promise that didn't need witnesses. Utilities scheduled to start the morning after closing, water first, power next, internet last, all in her own name, all to her new address. No paper mail, no trail, a P.O. box opened across town, package locker, set up with a code only she knew. She forwarded the bank to the P.O. box and watched the alerts go silent in the old house. She built a leaving kit that fit in the trunk, a duffel with 2 work outfits, a pair of flats, a sweater, toothbrush, phone charger, a small envelope of emergency cash. She rehearsed in her head like a dancer, marking steps, pick up the keys after work, leave the box of clothes with the neighbor 2 blocks over, move by daylight, not at midnight, calm, not secretive, quiet, not afraid. The account balance is held, the binder thickened, the map to her future stopped being a drawing and became a set of directions. No speeches required, no permission slips needed, only doors and the hands to open them. Tomorrow would look like a miracle to the people who hadn't watched her prepare. To Madison, it would look exactly like the plan. Dawn arrives like a clean page. Madison is already dressed, hair tied back, shoes soft enough not to speak. She moves to the house she has funded for years. Hallway photos watch her pass. Her father's boots by the door, Denise's mug with lipstick on the rim, Tyler's controller blinking a slow blue pulse. She doesn't touch any of it. She touches only what is hers. A duffel from under the bed, a folder from the closet, a charger from the outlet behind the couch, 3 shirts, 2 pairs of pants, 1 coat that still smells like rain. The box of receipts stays hidden. Not because she's afraid, because she's finished proving things. She strips the bed and folds the sheet, not out of duty, out of habit that hasn't learned she's free yet. She leaves the room the way she wants her life to look, empty, ordered, ready. In the kitchen, she takes the pan she bought with her first paycheck. Its handle is worn where her hand learned to hold. She takes the knife she sharpened when no one else would. She leaves the novelty wine glasses they posted every holiday. The house creaks like it wants to wake the others. It doesn't. Morning is on her side. Keys, wallet, phone. She checks the list without looking at it. Her body knows the choreography. At the door, she pauses. Not for permission, for closure. She can give herself. She thinks of her father's sentence, pay rent or get out. She thinks of Denise's laugh, Tyler's shrug, the ledger that pretended to be love. She unlocks the car with the quiet click she used to dread. Trunk open, duffel in, folder on the seat beside her. The steering wheel feels unfamiliar and exactly right. She does not look back at the windows. There's nothing behind glass she needs. There's nothing in those rooms that belongs to her more than the breath in her chest. The street is empty at this hour. She drives a route that avoids the places her muscle memory might betray her. No left at the bakery, no stop at the gas station where the attendant knows her father by name. A straight line to the address circled in blue. She parks in front of the small 2-story with white siding. The porch waits like it has been waiting only for her. The lock turns. The new air enters. Light hits an empty floor and makes it golden. She says the folder, the deed, the pre-approval, the copies on the counter. Her name looks steady on the paper. A name that stands by itself. Then she types the message. No emojis, no explanation, no apology. I've moved out. The bills are yours now. Send. Silence for a perfect beat. Then the first buzz. She flips the phone face down and lets it vibrate against the wood. She opens the faucet and drinks water that tastes like exactly what it is hers. She walks room to room, touching the edges, bedroom, bathroom, a living room with space for a couch and peace, windows that frame a maple tree instead of a fight. The phone buzzes again. She lets it. Not neglect, priority. On the counter, she writes a small list. Change address everywhere. Schedule the utilities already in motion. Pick up a used table. Buy a cheap lamp. Call the bank at noon. None of it is dramatic. All of it is decisive. The old house will notice her absence when the coffee tastes different, when the Wi Fi asks for a password, when the mailbox holds only their names. Madison stands in her kitchen and breathes, not like someone who escaped, like someone who arrived. The house is quiet in a way she has never owned. No TV bleeding through walls, no boots on the hallway tile, only the refrigerator's small hum, only the slow breath of the rooms. Light slides across the bare floor. Dust lifts and settles like snow that forgot to be cold. Madison stands in the doorway and listens to the silence. Test its wings. It does not ask anything from her. It waits. Relief arrives first, soft, physical. Her shoulders drop an inch she didn't know they were holding. Her jaw unclenches. Her hands forget the shape of the plate she squeezed last night. Then the second visitor caution. It comes like a shadow at noon, thin, persistent. She expects footsteps that do not come. She expects a voice that does not call her name. She expects the old script to burst in late, demanding a line. She walks the rooms like a curator, opens a window, checks the lock, closes the window, tries the lock again, not fear. Retraining. She makes coffee in the pan she brought. No one says the brand is wrong. No one tells her she measures too much. Steam climbs, and for once it climbs only for her. She sits on the floor with her back against the cabinet, cup warm between both hands. Phone face down on the counter. It buzzes. She lets it buzz. Relief and caution sit on either side of her, like mismatched friends learning to share a couch. She tests small freedoms, plays music at a volume that suits the hour, not the house, leaves a book open on the table without clearing it for someone else's plate, takes a shower and hangs a towel on the hook she chose, locks the bathroom door out of choice, not defense. The quiet is not empty. It is roomy. It has corners to breathe in. It echoes because there's finally space for her voice. Afternoon arrives. She eats standing up 3 grapes at a time, smiling at how nobody counts them. She writes a tiny list on a sticky note. Buy a lamp, find a chair, pick a color for the bedroom, even if it stays white. Evening leans on the windows. The maple outside scratches the glass like a gentle reminder you live here now. She answers the texts with 1 sentence when she must, and none when she doesn't. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors she controls. Night brings the old habits back to the edge. She flinches when a car idles on the street. She waits for a knock that doesn't come. She breathes through it slow and counted. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Her body will need time to unlearn the weather of the other house. She makes the bed with crisp corners, places the folder in the drawer, slides the keys beneath the pillow for one night only. Not superstition, transition. When she turns off the light, the dark is honest. No hidden listeners, no staged audience. Just the hum, the tree, the rhythm of her own heart. She is light enough to sleep. She is wired enough to wake at 3, listen, and sleep again. Freedom is not thunder. It is a series of quiet rooms that stop asking you to disappear. Tomorrow, she will open the laptop, line up the accounts, begin cutting the cords 1 clean click at a time. Tonight, she lets the relief speak louder than the caution. Just for a moment, just long enough to believe the door will still be hers in the morning. Morning, laptop open, a list on paper beside the trackpad, electric, water, internet, car insurance, auto pay, passwords. Done when crossed. Electric first, account page, settings. Remove save card, turn off auto pay. Change a mailing address to the new house, final bill to email only. Effective date today. A box asked for a reason. She types moved out, no longer responsible for this property. Save. A confirmation number appears. She copies it into her binder. 1 breath returns to her chest. Water next. City portal, old username, new address. Service transfer request submitted. Owner on record, not her. Occupant on record, not her. Proof of move deed uploaded. A green banner request received. She takes a screenshot. She writes the date and time in the margin. The house can drink. She won't be the one paying for it. Internet. She tries chat. It loops. She calls. Whole music is bright and false. A rep asks security questions. She has answers they don't expect her to have. Please remove my payment method. Please terminate my responsibility today. The service may remain at the address under a new account. Policy says return equipment. She lists the modem as owned by them, not purchased by her. They send a case number. She files it. Silence fills a space that used to be monthly noise. Car insurance. Her own policy. Her own car. New address entered. Premium recalculated. She removes the additional driver that should never have been there. She declines to insure vehicles that aren't hers. Paperless cards generate. She saves them to her wallet app. The old proof of insurance on the fridge will expire on its own. She owes no one a ride anymore. Banking app. Linked accounts audit. Delete old utilities from pays. Cancel scheduled transfers to the family account. Two-factor prompts. She breathes through each code. The phone vibrates. She doesn't pick up. Control comes in quiet numbered steps. Email. Subject lines stacked like a spine. Autopay canceled. Service responsibility ended. Request received. Case number. Each subject is a small return of self. Each subject is a door that used to be locked from the other side. She writes short notes to herself in the margin. No apologies, just facts. Close my part of the electricity at 10:07. Water transfer proof uploaded at 10:29. ISP case number 4187AX. Rep Janelle. Insurance policy refreshed at new address. No additional drivers. She sends one message to the group chat. Clear, neutral. I've removed my name and payment methods from all services tied to the old address. Please set up your own accounts. Do not show up without notice. Seen by Tyler. Seen by Denise. Her father types and deletes. A bubble appears. Disappears, appears again. She turns the phone over and keeps working. She opens a fresh document titled Boundaries Utilities. She pastes every confirmation code. She adds dates, times, account IDs, and the name of every rep. If anyone argues later, she will not argue back. She will show the paper. Paper does not explain. Paper does not beg. She does one last sweep. Power, water, internet, insurance, all detached, all documented, all hers or not hers, with nothing in between. For years, the house taught her to confuse love with logistics. Today, she separates them with clicks. Each click sounds small. Inside her, it sounds like a lock turning. She closes the laptop. The room stays quiet. The quiet is not a threat. The quiet is a crown. She stands a little taller, not because anyone saw, because there is less weight on her name. One more line on the list, crossed. And under it, a new one she adds in ink. Keep it this way. The phone starts first, unknown numbers. Then her father's name. Then Denise. Then Tyler. Ring, pause, ring again. She lets the first three go to voicemail. She saves each file to a folder named Boundaries Calls. Date, time, duration. She transcribes the words in a simple text doc. No commentary, just facts. Text messages pile up. Her father called me back. This is urgent. Be reasonable. You can't just walk away. Denise Madison, the Wi-Fi is down. I need it for work. Be an adult. Family helps family. Tyler insurance is messed up. Fix it. I've got an interview. Wow, cold. Hope your new place is fun without us. Madison answers twice. Short. Neutral. Please use email for all communication. Do not come to my home without written notice. She screenshots her replies. She archives the threads. She backs them up to the cloud. The knocking starts the next afternoon. 3 sharp hits on the door. She looks through the peephole. Denise, arms crossed, sunglasses on. Madison does not open. A text arrives. Open up. We're not doing this. Madison replies. Please leave. Communicate by email. She saves the exchange. She notes the time in her binder. Evening. Her father shows up with his jaw set. He keeps his voice low, like quiet. Means reasonable. We need a week. Turn the accounts back on. Madison stands behind the locked door. I am no longer responsible for those accounts. She repeats it once. No extra sentences. She types a follow-up email to him while he's still on the porch. Subject utilities. Body the same line. Sent. Saved. The cycle forms. Guilt in the morning. Anger by noon. Bargaining at dusk, threats at night, repeat. When the threats arrive, they come sideways. Denise. It would be a shame if people heard how you treat your family. Tyler. Watch your mailbox. Her father. If you want help, don't come crawling back. Madison documents everything. Screenshots, voicemail files, photos of the caller ID screen. A simple spreadsheet with 4 columns. Who what? When status. Each entry gets a number. She drafts a boundary note and sends it to all 3 by email. I will communicate in writing only. Do not come to my residence without my written permission. Any further harassment will result in me contacting the authorities. This is my final notice. Plain, direct, no heat to grab onto. Denise switches strategies. She posts on social media about certain ungrateful people. No names, plenty of hints. Madison takes screenshots and files them under Boundaries Social. Neighbors forward her the posts with cautious sympathy. Madison replies with 3 words. Thanks for forwarding. She saves those too. At work, she adds her personal email to a new filter. Family messages skip the inbox and go to a folder named for record, out of sight, not out of reach. At night, the knocks slow and then stop, replaced by a text blitz that tries every angle. We raised you. We're drowning. You owe us. You'll regret this. Fine. Well managed. Emergency. Answer now. She replies once a day if needed. Always the same shape. I am not available by phone. Please use email. I do not consent to visits. Please leave. Regarding utilities, I am no longer responsible. She changes nothing in her tone. She changes everything in the pattern. One afternoon, Tyler parks at the curb and leans on the horn. Madison sets her phone to record video from the window. 2 minutes, license plate captured. She saves the file. She does not go outside. Another day, Denise slips a handwritten note under the door. Talk to us. Madison slides it back out, photographed and dated on the corner. Then she sends an email. Please do not deliver notes to my door. Email only. Sent. Saved. Her father leaves a voicemail that sounds almost like the man she used to believe in. We went too far. Just help us this month. Madison listens once. She feels the pull in her chest, then she files the audio without answering. Compassion is not the same as access. She is allowed to care and still keep the lock. Days pass. The volume lowers. The pattern holds. Madison's replies stay short. Her records grow long. She adds a new tab to her binder if needed, a list of steps. File a police report if they show up again. Consult an attorney with the packet. Request a do not contact letter through official channels. Not threats. Options. Options calm the room. By the end of the week, the calls come in spurts, not storms. The texts hit and fizzle. The porch stays empty. Madison does not mistake quiet for safety. She does not mistake noise for power. She keeps her own pace. Every note she writes is a piece of herself she gets to keep. Every timestamp is a hand on the steering wheel. Control doesn't return all at once. It returns like this. One record, one reply. One closed door that stays closed. The first clue is small. A fraud alert ping at midnight. Suspicious login attempt. She changes the password and goes to sleep with her jaw tight. Morning brings the second. Her credit report shows a new account she did not open. A department store card. Opened 2 months ago. Billing address, the old house. Statement balance, not small. She remembers the missing purse that turned up 2 days later. Nothing gone, she thought then. She thinks again now. She calls the issuer from her new kitchen. She keeps her voice even. The rep reads what they are allowed to read. We can't share the full number on the account. The phone attached ends in 1729. Madison knows this 4 digits. Tyler's number ends in 1729. The rep continues scripted. Recent purchases, electronics, auto parts. Curbside pickup at the Southside location. The timestamp overlaps with a photo Madison took at work that same hour. She files the fact in her chest like a pinned specimen. Label, date, time. She downloads her annual credit reports, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. She circles the hard inquiry with a pen. She highlights the address history that lists a place she never lived. The store shipped to locker. She prints it all. Paper is slower than panic. Paper is better. She opens her binder and adds a new tab. Boundaries fraud. Inside it subtabs credit reports, issuer calls, dispute letters, screenshots, Tyler texts. She slides in the text where Tyler wrote, "Watch your mailbox." She adds the date she received a package addressed to her first name, nickname, style only he uses. She photographs the box before she opens it. Inside a gaming headset model Tyler has wanted for months. Receipt, curbside pickup signature that looks like a rush tie. She does not send a rage text. She does not post a call out. She builds. Fraud alerts on all 3 bureaus. Credit freeze placed. Pins recorded by hand and stored in the lockbox. A report filed on the National Identity Theft Portal. Case number printed and tucked into the binder. Police non-emergency incident number obtained. She writes the time, the officer's name, and the summary of her statement in neat lines. She drafts dispute letters with copies of her ID and proof of address, certified mail receipts stapled to the front. She writes one sentence 3 different ways until it is clean and exact. I did not open this account and did not authorize anyone to open it on my behalf. She updates every login tied to her finances. Unique passwords written by hand. 2-factor authentication set to an app, not SMS. Recovery codes printed and sealed. She cleans out the last traces of the old house from her security questions. No more first pet anyone else knows. She adds a timeline page that reads like a ledger. Purse missing, month day. Store card open, month day. Tyler's text, month day. Issuer call, month day. Police report, month day. Every entry has a source in the binder. Every claim has a page number. Evidence, not emotion. She writes herself a note at the top: do not confront, do not accuse, document. It keeps her steady when the temptation to shout rises like heat. In the family tab, she copies her messages into a separate file labeled context. Not proof by itself. Pattern when lined up with the rest. By dusk, the binder has weight. It feels like a spine where her boundaries live. She closes it and places it in the drawer with the smooth slide of something exactly where it belongs. She has always paid for what other people wanted. This time, she paid for proof. It will not make her safer by itself. It will make her solid. If they try to pull her back into the story where everything is her responsibility, she has another story to hand them, not a speech, pages, and pages are hard to argue with. It starts with a post that doesn't name her. Not exactly, but the details are sharp enough to cut through plausible deniability. A certain someone thinks moving out means they're too good for family. Sad how people forget where they came from. A picture of a half-empty patio table at the old house. Paper plates. A BBQ grill in the corner. The caption, "Some people don't value loyalty." Denise knows exactly what she's doing. It's bait, wrapped in nostalgia and dipped in resentment. The kind that lets mutual acquaintances read between the lines without ever saying her name. The comments come fast. "Oh, I think I know who you mean. Families should stick together." Some folks just need to grow up. Nobody tags her. Nobody needs to. The timeline is public enough that it finds its way to Madison's phone without her looking for it. Screenshots arrive via text from 2 different friends. One sends just the image with no words. The other writes, "Guess you've been promoted to villain of the week." Madison scrolls through the thread once. She notes the timestamps, the usernames, the phrasing of each jab. She doesn't respond. She doesn't like or block. She takes screenshots, full screen date visible, username intact. Saves them to the family tab in her binder under digital harassment. Prints them before the day is out. By night, Denise has posted again. A meme, a wolf doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. The comment underneath from a cousin Preach. Denise replies with a single heart emoji. It's petty, it's calculated, it's also evidence. Madison closes her phone and goes back to making dinner. Silence isn't weakness. It's ammunition she's keeping dry. They come in a truck that knows the route by heart. Her father first, Denise a step behind. Tyler, hanging back eyes on his phone. He knocks once, then again. Madison opens the door just wide enough for air and words. She stays on her side of the threshold. Her father starts in a low, practiced voice. Turn the accounts back on. Just a week while we transition. Denise, add sugar. Madison, be reasonable. We can't do this without internet. I have deadlines. Tyler mutters, "Insurance too. I've got an interview." Madison keeps her tone even. "No." She lets the word stand by itself. Her father's jaw hardens. "This is family." Madison nods once. Family doesn't humiliate you in front of neighbors. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. Denise tries a different angle. "You're making a scene." Madison glances at the yard where a wind chime rings once and stops. "I didn't make a scene at the BBQ. You did." "You laughed," she says to Denise. "You smirked," she says to her father. "You filmed it," she says to Tyler without looking. Each sentence lands like a receipt laid on a counter. Her father reaches for the old script. "Don't be dramatic." Madison shakes her head. "Turning off accounts isn't dramatic. It's accurate. I paid them for years. I'm done." Denise softens her mouth into a plea. "Just 1 week." Madison replies steady. "You asked for my exit in public. This is me exiting. My money doesn't live here anymore." Tyler snorts. "Cold." Madison answers the word directly. "Colder is laughing at your kid while the grill is still smoking." A curtain stirs across the street. The porch light next door clicks on. Madison keeps her eyes on the 3 people in front of her. "This is my boundary," she says. "Communicate by email. Do not come back uninvited." Her father steps closer. "Is this really what you want?" Madison breathes once. "It's what I decided the night you told me to pay rent or get out. I chose out." She lifts her phone and sends an email while they watch. Subject: Utilities. Body: "I am not responsible for services at the old address. Do not contact me by phone. Email only. Sent. Saved." She meets each pair of eyes one by one. "I won't argue this on my porch. I won't fix what I didn't break. I won't fund you to disrespect me again." She steps back. The door closes cleanly. No slam, no apology. On the other side, voices rise, then fade. Inside, Madison writes the time in her binder. Another line in the record. Another piece of herself kept. It happens in a half second. A pause where his script should be. Her father looks past her shoulder, then down at the doormat. Jaw unclenches, hand opens, closes. He swallows words he can't make sound like authority. He tries on the voice he's always used. It doesn't fit. Too big now, too loud for a door that won't open. His eyes flick to the street. A neighbor's curtain moves. He calculates the audience and comes up short. No grill, no laughter, no stage. Madison notices the small things first. The way his shoulders round, not square. The way his feet shuffle instead of plant. The way he waits for her to fill the silence. She doesn't. Silence belongs to her here. Denise searches his face for a cue and finds none. Tyler pockets his phone, suddenly interested in the laces on his shoes. The trio that once felt like a wall looks like 3 separate people on 3 separate islands. Her father tries one more time. "Madison, be reasonable." The name lands soft, not sharp. It sounds less like an order and more like a request from someone who has run out of requests. Madison answers with nothing new. Only the same line said the same way. "I'm not responsible for those accounts." Steady, exact, not cruel. Power doesn't shift with a shout. It tilts when the old threats stop working. It turns when the person who always yielded doesn't. He exhales. Hands go to his pockets and stay there. He steps back without realizing he has stepped back. The porch, once his ground, belongs to the lock between them. For the first time, she sees him unsure. Not the storm, just a man who cannot make the weather bend. There is no victory pose, no smirk, only recognition. What changed wasn't him. It was her permission to decide, to end a pattern, to keep what is hers. He mumbles, "We'll talk later," and doesn't set a time. Denise touches his arm and misses. Tyler looks up, then away. They turn towards the steps. Boots on wood. A small, unplanned retreat. Inside, Madison's breath is even. Outside, the wind chime rings once and quits. The moment holds its shape. Power isn't volume, it's choice. She chose. And the house believed her. The email lands at 9:12 a.m. Subject: urgent, past, due balance, and notice of public auction. Property her father's address. She reads it twice. 2 payments missed. No arrangement on file. Auction scheduled in 30 days. 10 Southern a.m. County steps. She feels the old reflex move fast. Fix it reach for her. She does not move. She does not fix. She checks her records. Her name removed from every utility. Her name never on the mortgage. Emergency contact only years ago. added without asking. She calls the number in the email from her new kitchen. Case ID, please. The rep reads the file. Your name is listed as an emergency contact. You are not a borrower. Please note you are not financially responsible. Madison asks for the rep's name and employee ID. She writes both down. Date, time. A single line. Not responsible. Contact only. She prints the notice. One copy for the binder, one copy to carry. She highlights the sentence about the auction date. She circles 2 payments missed. Facts, not fuel. A new tab goes into the binder boundaries for closure. Inside email printout. Call log with rep name and ID. Screenshot of her utilities showing not in name. Timeline that links their posts, their knocks, their asks to this. She writes herself a rule at the top of the tab: do not rescue, do not taunt, do not explain. Present paper. She opens a blank document titled Final Conversation Notes. Bullet points, not speeches. You asked me to leave. I left. I'm not on the mortgage. I'm not paying the arrears. Communicate by email. Do not return to my home. Here's the notice. The phone buzzes with a fresh round of texts. She does not answer. Instead, she sets the printer to two-sided, black and white. Ink is cheaper that way. Boundaries too. She slides the packet into a clear sleeve. It looks clinical. It is meant to. At the bottom of the page, she writes one more line, small and steady. Compassion access. She can care and still say no. She can grieve and still keep the door locked. She places the sleeve atop the binder near the front. Ready if they come, ready when they come. This won't be a fight, it will be an accounting. They arrive before sunset. Same truck, same faces, new math. Her father speaks first. Help with this month. We'll get back on track. Denise folds her arms like prayer. Madison, please. Turn the power on just for now. Tyler kicks the step. Internet, insurance. I've got stuff riding on this. Madison holds a clear sleeve with the foreclosure notice. She doesn't wave it. She doesn't hide it. She keeps it steady between them and her. I'm not paying your arrears, she says. I'm not restoring any accounts. Her voice is level, almost quiet. It carries anyway. Her father tries the ledger of guilt. After all, we did for you. Denise tries the ledger of image. People are talking. You're making us look heartless. Tyler tries the ledger of threat. You'll regret this. Madison shakes her head once. Family doesn't exploit each other. Family doesn't humiliate each other. What happened at the BBQ wasn't help. It was harm. Denise flinches. It was a joke. Madison answers without heat. It was a message. I received it. Her father steps closer. Just this month. No, Madison says. Not this month. Not next month. Not at all. She offers the sleeve forward. Here's the notice from your bank. You are listed for contact. I am not a borrower. Communicate with them. Communicate with me by email only. Denise searches for a softer door. We're drowning. Madison nods once. Then you need a plan. Not my wallet. Not my silence. Tyler mutters, cold. Madison meets his eyes. Cold was laughing while the neighbors listened. Her father reaches for anger and comes up with air. He looks at the paper like it might bite. This isn't how family works. Madison answers the sentence she has heard for years. Then change how this family works. She doesn't raise her hand. She doesn't point. She states the boundary like a street sign. I will not fund disrespect. I will not answer calls. I will not unlock this door to negotiate my worth. A beat passes. Wind moves across the porch. Something old loosens. She adds the last line, the one that does not bend. Family doesn't exploit or humiliate each other. That's my standard. If you want access to me, you meet it. Silence, then footsteps, then the truck. Inside, Madison writes the time in her binder. One more record. One more piece of herself kept. She holds the notice at the edge. Not like a weapon, like a fact. She extends her hand into the space between them. No flourish, no speech. She lets go. Paper flutters, finds gravity, lands on the step between his boots and hers. White on weathered wood. Black ink like a road with no turnoff. No one bends to pick it up. Her father stares at the date. Denise watches the neighbor's windows. Tyler nudges the corner with his shoe and pretends he didn't. Madison keeps her eyes level. Here's the end, she says only to herself. Not triumph, accuracy. She steps back. Door swings. Hinge speaks once. The latch meets the strike plate. Click, full stop, no slam, no echo. Just a clean closure the house has been waiting to learn. On the porch, words scrape for shape and fail. Inside, the quiet takes her side. She sets the binder on the counter, writes the time. Another line in the record. A page that is also a door. Through the people, the notice is still there, still white, still true. Sunlight slowly edges across the page until it touches the word auction. Endings are not always fireworks. Sometimes they are paper meeting wood, a lock choosing you, a breath you don't give back. She boils water for tea. The kettle builds a small weather of its own. Steam curls, the past cools. Outside, someone finally lifts the paper. Inside, Madison does not look up. Closure is a verb. She has done it. Morning arrives without an audience. No voices cutting through walls. No footsteps measuring the hallway. Just light and the soft sound of a house that wants nothing. Madison wakes before the alarm. No reason. Just rest that did its job. She stretches. Sheets stay smooth. Silence stays kind. She passed to the kitchen barefoot. Countertop clean, sink empty. A mug waiting where she left it. She grinds the beans she likes, not the kind on sale. The scent blooms and does not have to justify itself. Water pours. Steam rises. She watches the surface turn dark. No one tells her she measures wrong. No one asks for the first cup. She leans on the counter and takes the first sip. Heat moves through her ribs. There is a space between each breath. Not a void, a meadow. She opens the window. Cool air slips in. A leaf scrapes the screen. The outside says good morning without wanting anything else. Phone on the table face down. No compulsion to check. If it buzzes, it can wait. If it doesn't, that is also peace. She makes a small list in neat lines. Water the plant by the window. Walk to the corner for fresh bread. Call the bank at noon. Choose a lamp. Pick a color for the bedroom or keep it white on purpose. She thinks about the word empty, how it once meant loss, how it now means room. Room for a chair placed where the light falls, room for a book to stay open all afternoon, room for laughter when it comes not forced to prove anything. She puts the keys in a bowl by the door. They don't have to live under a pillow anymore. Locks are for safety, not survival. Second sip. She tastes chocolate and something bright. She tastes a life that doesn't apologize for being quiet. Across the room, the binder rests in its drawer. Not a weight, a spine. She knows where it is if she needs it. Today, she doesn't. She opens the laptop and sees her own name on every account. It looks steady. It looks like a signature that finally learned how to sign for itself. She waters the plant. The soil darkens. Leaves is lift a little. She smiles at the small proof that care given consistently changes shape. No noise to dodge, no crisis to outrun. Just a morning that doesn't cost her. Coffee cools, sun climbs. Madison stands in her kitchen and fills the room without shrinking. This is the sound of a new life. Breath you don't have to borrow, time you don't have to explain, a quiet that belongs to you. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks you control. They say, here is what I will do. Here is what I want. Here's how you may reach me. Here is what happens if you cross the line. A boundary is not a debate. It's a description. It's a policy for your life. What boundaries look like for Madison, I don't take calls. Email only. I don't fund disrespect. I don't unlock my door to negotiate my worth. I keep records. If you show up uninvited, you leave. Compassion access, love obedience, silence, peace. 3 quick tests Madison used. Does this request require me to shrink? Does it arrive with guilt or threat? Does it respect my no the first time? If any answer is yes, the answer is no. Boundaries will upset the people who benefit from you not having them. That's data, not destiny. Their anger doesn't mean you're wrong. It means the pattern is breaking. Mini story, the tree that learned to grow again. In Madison's new yard stands a maple. Late winter, an arborist came by and cut it hard. Dead wood, crossed branches, anything that stole light or rubbed the bark raw. It looked brutal. It looked smaller. For a week, the tree seemed lonelier against the sky. Then spring arrived. Tiny green fists along every clean cut. Leaves where there were none before. The trunk stood steadier in the wind. The storm that once would have snapped a heavy limb only combed it. Pruning didn't punish the tree. Pruning protected its future. Cutting back wasn't cruelty. Cutting back made room for sap to find the right places, for light to reach what could still live. Madison did the same. She pruned utilities. She pruned the constant demands. She pruned access that came without respect. At first, life looked smaller, then breath returned, then mornings got bigger. Boundaries don't make you hard, they make you honest. Real love survives clarity. Manipulation requires confusion. Say it plain, like Madison did. My standard is simple. Family doesn't exploit or humiliate. If you want access to me, meet the standard. Short, kind, firm. You're allowed to be the gardener of your own life. Keep what grows, cut what rots, let the green come back. If any part of Madison's story felt uncomfortably familiar, this is your sign. You are not dramatic for wanting peace. You are not selfish for wanting your money, your time, and your name to belong to you. Toxic bonds don't always look like shouting. Sometimes they look like be reasonable or family helps family or it's not that much. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're clarity. Clarity is how dignity breathes. If you're standing on the threshold, start small and specific. Write one boundary in a single sentence. Move one bill out of your name. Switch one conversation to email. Tell one trusted friend. Document more than you explain. Make a plan that keeps you safe. Leaving a harmful pattern doesn't make you heartless. Staying at the cost of yourself is the slowest kind of heartbreak. Choose the door that leads you back to you. If this helped you, share the boundary you'll set this week in the comments. Your words might be the lifeline someone else needs. And if you want more stories like this, you're welcome here at Whispers of Life. Sometimes loving yourself is the hardest choice, but the only one. Healthy boundaries are acts of love for yourself and for the relationship. Without them, help turns into obligation, and obligation turns into control. How to apply it this week. Simple checklist. Write one boundary in one sentence. I don't discuss money by phone. Please email. Move one bill out of your name. Start with the easiest document, the confirmation. Switch one hot button conversation to writing. Text or email keeps receipts and calms emotions. Create a proof folder. Screenshots, dates call logs. Evidence beats arguments. Plan a safety net. Small savings, a spare key, 2 trusted contacts. Practice the calm no. No, I'm not available for that. Short, kind, firm. Review monthly. Boundaries are living, adjust as your life changes. Mindset anchors, compassion access, love obedience, silence, peace, clarity is kindness. If this story gave you courage, hit subscribe to Whispers of Life. Join a community that turns pain into wisdom, one boundary at a time. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next chapter. Drop a comment. What boundary will you set this week? Sometimes loving yourself is the hardest choice, but the only one.